All right, well, it's just after 10, so I'm gonna get I'm gonna get us started here. Um, so first off, good morning to all of you. I'd like to welcome you to this Bidders Conference for the Supporting Pennsylvania's Information Technology Sector through Apprenticeships and Pre-Apprenticeships Grant Initiative. Purpose of this meeting is to provide you with information as detailed in the Notice of Grant Availability released December 18th, and of course to allow questions from you. My name is Will Horan with the Apprenticeship and Training Office, and I will be managing this grant program, serving as your point of contact for any questions and technical assistance. And before we begin, there are a few quick items that I'd like to cover. I want to let you all know that this bidders conference is being recorded, and I ask that if you have any questions, please enter them using the chat feature, and feel free to enter questions throughout the bidders conference as I'm going over these things. And I will provide any answers to questions during the Q&A section at the conclusion of the presentation. And also, everything that is being covered today is included in the NGA apart from the questions and answers, and those will be transcribed and provided in the near future. And we also have a short presentation on a few budget items from our fiscal team a little bit later in the presentation as well. So, with all that said, I'd now like to begin with a brief introduction of the initiative. On December 18th, the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry released the Supporting Pennsylvania's Information Technology Sector through Apprenticeships and Pre-Apprenticeships Notice of Grant Availability. Purpose of this NGA is to provide two opportunities for funding in support of IT workers through the apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship model. Opportunity one supports the development of new registered apprenticeships or pre-apprenticeships, and Opportunity two supports the expansion of existing registered apprenticeships or pre-apprenticeships. Opportunity one will award up to $400,000 per grantee to support the creation of new registered apprenticeships or pre-apprenticeships. Opportunity two will award up to $200,000 per grantee to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion in existing registered apprenticeships or registered pre-apprenticeships, and approximately $2 million in funding is available for supporting Pennsylvania's information technology sector through apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships. Registered apprenticeships have five key components that differentiate the approach from other types of workplace training programs. These components include a paid job, on-the-job training, related technical instruction, mentorship, and credentials. And this combination of components is what makes registered apprenticeship a viable option for giving career development opportunity to individuals who may have not been able to engage in it prior through more traditional methods. And registered pre-apprenticeships have five key components as well that lay the foundation for future apprentices by preparing qualified candidates with academic knowledge and skills training tailored to specific jobs and industries. Each pre-apprenticeship program establishes a connection to at least one existing registered apprenticeship program, offers approved training and curriculum, delivers hands-on learning through a variety of unique program designs and approaches, offers the opportunity to earn industry-recognized credentials, and access to support services and career counseling. It's important to note that the Apprenticeship and Training Office Field Staff Division. Field Division will assist awardees to understand the process to register a new apprenticeship program, and they will also be extremely valuable in understanding the guidelines and regulations if you intend to expand an existing registered apprenticeship. Led by Supervisor Christy DeWitt and consisting of apprenticeship and training representatives, ATRs, in addition to special project ATRs, this division will be a vital partnership for grantees of this award. If your organization is awarded a grant, there will be a deadline to engage with the ATR to begin planning, and this should be noted on your application timeline. More details on the application and how ATRs fit into the registration process will be detailed later in the presentation, and additional details will also be provided once grants are awarded. The pre-apprenticeship division is led by Supervisor Danielle Demirovic and consists of two pre-apprenticeship and training representatives, again, ATRs. And as stated with the ATR Field Division review, the pre-apprenticeship division will be a key partner for awardees of this grant. If you intend to use grant funds to develop a new registered pre-apprenticeship or expand an existing registered pre-apprenticeship, you will need to meet with the pre-apprenticeship ATR to plan the program. And again, as with the previous slide, it should be noted that if your organization, sorry, is awarded a grant, there will be a deadline to engage with the pre-apprenticeship division to begin planning and should again be noted in your application timeline. Apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs funded by this grant must be registered with the Commonwealth. Awardees will have until 1 year from contract start date to finalize their registration or show progress towards the finalization of the registration. If a grantee intends to expand a registered apprenticeship and/or pre-apprenticeship, the grantee is required to ensure registered program sponsors remain compliant with all U.S. and PA laws, policy, regulations, and standards. To learn more, please sign up for a registered apprenticeship and registered pre-apprenticeship orientation, and I have the links for those that I could post in the chat just after this. We also have some guides and resources available for employers, training providers, and sponsors, and that is at the PA CareerLink site, the registered apprenticeship site under PA CareerLink. And again, I could also post the link for that just after this presentation. The tech industry drives much of the U.S. economy, with as much as 1/3 of all growth coming from tech sectors. These occupations are projected to grow at a rate of 15% over the next 10 years. This IT sector initiative looks to reach underrepresented populations with a focus to increase equity through supporting career pathways, which decrease debt while still leading to good jobs, which are essential for a thriving economy, supporting workers, families, businesses, and communities. These good jobs are the backbone of an equitable economy, supporting workers, families, businesses, and communities while strengthening Pennsylvania's economy by creating pathways to these jobs. This initiative not only addresses workforce shortages, but also builds a stronger and more inclusive economy. The rising demand and competition for computing professionals has spurred the initiative for this apprenticeship programs. My apologies. Through this grant opportunity, the ATO's overarching goals are to encourage pathways to enter into information technology occupations, develop career pathways for advancement in IT occupations, further support individuals in IT occupations, and increase retention rates within IT, and expand existing IT registered apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs by serving additional apprentices and pre-apprentices from traditionally underserved populations. Encouraging support and also encouraging support for the development of workplace accessibility as it relates to the physical and digital environment. Initiatives that focus on the following, which are specific to this grant opportunity and need to be addressed within the project narrative, include new, previously unfunded initiatives, initiatives utilizing a group model, proposals demonstrate a commitment to serve and increase access for historically underrepresented and underserved students, workers, businesses, and communities, such as by addressing barriers to education and employment, design, creation, and adjustment, and upgrade of environments and services to support both physical and digital accessibility for apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship participants in the work environment, and finally, applicants who demonstrate collaborations with labor unions to support apprentices or pre-apprentices. And in order to meet this priority consideration, the labor union must either be the grant applicant or they must provide a letter of support outlining specifics related to their involvement in the project. Eligible applicants include organizations that will serve as or are currently serving as a sponsor or intermediary of new or existing registered apprenticeships/ pre-apprenticeships. If the applicant is not the program sponsor, the grantee must show significant evidence of the sponsor being an involved partner in this grant application. Businesses, community-based organizations, economic development organizations, industry associations, labor organizations, local education agencies, local workforce development boards, nonprofits, post-secondary institutions, public libraries, and STEM ecosystems. Additionally, the applicant must demonstrate the ability to coordinate, manage, and implement the design of a project, develop and implement the project budget, implement a strategy to collect, analyze, and report performance outcomes, and coordinate and evaluate the activities of the project. They must also be capable of monitoring and administering the fiscal components of the project, be capable of submitting the required reporting elements at the required intervals as documented in the NGA, and they must have the capacity to work with an evaluator. Applicants are also required to have a PA SAP vendor identification number, and this can be obtained at no cost online. You can also call the vendor data management unit at 717-346-2676 or 1-877-435-7363. It can take up to 2 weeks to receive a vendor number, and if you're unable to obtain a Pennsylvania SAP vendor identification number in a timely fashion, you can submit the application prior to receipt. However, no grant will be awarded without final documentation of a Pennsylvania vendor identification number. Applicants are also required to have a unique entity ID. This is a 12-character alphanumeric ID assigned to an entity by sam.gov. That's sam.gov. And for assistance in obtaining a new unique entity ID or to identify an existing unique entity ID, refer to the links and resources section in the NGA. And applicants also need to comply with the workforce grant agreement. Applicants who cannot meet these additional requirements at the time of award will relinquish their award. Now, moving on to the fiscal agent. A fiscal agent is an organization that agrees to accept and be responsible for grant funds on behalf of the grantee. Fiscal agent is often a business or school that signs a legal contract with the Commonwealth of PA and is responsible for all fiscal accounting. The fiscal agent is not the same as the head accountant or supervisor of the business department. They handle invoicing, payments, state and federal tax reporting, etc. It's important to note that if called upon, the fiscal agent must provide documentation for state or federal auditing, and the fiscal agent must also take out employee dishonesty/theft insurance for at least $100,000. And some grantees do serve as their own fiscal agents if able, while others ask eligible organizations, such as a local workforce board, to be their fiscal agent. And if local workforce development boards apply as a region, the region must appoint a single local workforce development board as the lead applicant, who must also act as the fiscal agent. The required activities outlined below are intended to frame the types of services and/or activities permitted that would be necessary for successful program delivery. Projects supporting new apprentices from traditionally underserved populations during the grant period with the intent that a percentage remain active and/or successfully complete the program to achieve journey worker status. Projects utilizing a group model that support multiple counties, employers, and apprentices from traditionally underserved populations during the grant period with the intent that a percentage maintain active status and/or successfully complete the program and achieve journey worker status. Projects supporting pre-apprentices from traditionally underserved populations with the intent to successfully enroll and matriculate a number of completers into affiliated registered apprenticeship programs during the grant period. Now, moving on to performance metrics, a successful project will result in the following outcomes being met. Opportunity one, develop a registered apprenticeship program that served at least 3 apprentices during the grant period with the intent that 80% remain active and or successfully complete the program to achieve journey worker status. Use of funding to offset on-the-job learning or OJL and or related technical instruction or RTI costs and provide wraparound support services in support of new enrollments per project and will equate to a minimum of $2,000 per apprentice. Develop a registered apprenticeship program that utilizes a group model to support at least three employers and 12 apprentices with the intent that 80% remain active and or successfully complete the program to achieve journey worker status. Use of funding to offset OJL and or related RTI costs and provide wraparound support services in support of the new enrollments per project and will equate to a minimum of $2,000 per apprentice. Develop a registered pre-apprenticeship program that serves at least 15 pre-apprentices. Additionally, this project must result in successful enrollment and matriculation of at least 5 pre-apprenticeship completers into the affiliated registered apprenticeship. Use of funding to offset paid work experience, RTI costs, support services, etc., directly in support of new enrollments per project and will equate to a minimum of $600 per pre-apprentice. And moving on to opportunity two, expanding an individual registered apprenticeship program, serving at least 3 apprentices from traditionally underserved populations with the intent that 80% remain active and or successfully complete the program and achieve journey worker status during the grant period. Use of funding to offset OJL and or RTI costs and provide wraparound support services in support of the new enrollments per project. Again, will equate to a minimum of $2,000 per apprentice. Expand a registered apprenticeship program utilizing a group model, again, serving at least 3 employers and 12 apprentices from traditionally underserved populations with the intent 80% remain active and or successfully complete the program during the grant period. The use of funding of OJL and or RTI costs and provide wraparound support services in support of the new enrollments per project and will equate to a minimum of, again, $2,000 per apprentice. And finally, expand a registered pre-apprenticeship program serving at least 15 pre-apprentices from traditionally underserved populations during the grant period. Additionally, this project must result in successful enrollment and matriculation of at least 5 pre-apprenticeship completers into the affiliated registered apprenticeship. The use of funding to offset paid work experience, RTI costs, support services, etc., directly in support of the new enrollments per project and will equate to a minimum of $600 per pre-apprentice. Evaluation criteria. So for the initial review criteria, prior to comprehensive merit evaluation, L&I will perform an initial review to determine that 1, the applicant is eligible, 2, the information required as seen in the NGA has been received by the deadline, and 3, the proposal is aligned and responsive to the NGA, and 4, all mandatory components have been received, which includes an application form, project summary cover, project narrative, letters of support, sustainability plan, timeline, goals and outcomes table, budget and budget justification, and the worker protection certification form. Also, only those applications that pass the initial review will be scored in the merit review. Merit review criteria. Final awards will be based on a merit evaluation, and please refer to the NGA for any specifics on the merit evaluation criteria. Application package specifications. Applicants must obtain and download the official NGA required documents from the L&I grants website. And for the formatting and contents of your submission, it needs to be single space, 8.5 by 11 page size, 1-inch margins, 11-point Calibri font, PDF format with the exception of the timeline, goals and outcomes table, and the budget, page numbers in the footer. The application may not include hyperlinks and also may not include any proprietary or sensitive business information. Included applications must include the following components: the application form. This is a sample of the application form is available in Appendix A of the NGA, and we will also be going through these appendices and showing you what these sort of look like in this presentation a bit later. Also, the project summary cover. A sample of the project summary cover page is available in Appendix B. The project narrative, and this must include a narrative as seen in Appendix C of the NGA, the timeline as seen in Appendix D, goals and outcomes table as seen in Appendix E, sustainability plan as seen in Appendix F, and the letters of support. Each application must have at least 1 to 3 letters of support. See Appendix G of the NGA for a template. Now, as I mentioned, we'll be taking a closer look at each appendix, and we're going to start here with Appendix B. You will see the requirement to place the rapid sponsor ID number for applicants that will propose expanding a currently registered apprenticeship or pre-apprenticeship. And if you're proposing to add a new occupation to an existing registered apprenticeship, you will need to enter the rapid sponsor ID number. Next, you will see 2 opportunities to select from and the outcomes specific to each opportunity. Priority consideration categories are listed for applicants to select. Some of the priority considerations request a page number within the project narrative regarding the aspect of the considerations. And this is just an up-close look at the priority considerations. Also, just a look at the scoring for priority considerations. Moving on to Appendix C. Appendix C requires the applicant to detail the need for the program and clearly identify the initiatives of the NGA. Next to the appendix, you will note the score sheet, which is taken directly from the NGA's evaluation criteria. The scoring criteria identifies the design and management of the apprenticeship or pre-apprenticeship. Appendix C is the timeline, include benchmarks specific to goals and outcome achievements, provide tentative registration dates for new apprenticeships or pre-apprenticeships to be developed, and the high-level details found in the project narrative. Appendix E offers opportunity 1 or 2 goals and outcomes to start your planning. Click the box in 1, 2, and 3 that align with your selection of your project need, indicate performance metrics, evaluation methods, target numbers, etc. Additional goals and outcomes, as you can see, can be added below in boxes 4 and 5. And it's important to note, please only fill out 1 table for Appendix E. And as you will see, the first one here is for development, and the second one is for expansion. Appendix F is the sustainability plan, which is a high-level review of the information found in the project narrative. It must note how the apprenticeship/pre-apprenticeship will continue beyond the grant. Appendix G is the template of the letter of support for partners that your project will involve. 1 to 3 letters of support, again, are required. All right, so now we move on to Appendix H, this is a continuation of the slide before, and number 5, the application must also include the grant financial reporting package. A sample of the GFRP is available in Appendix H of the NGA. Expenditures by line item, requested and leveraged funds, and budget justification must be completed and submitted as an Excel spreadsheet. And then finally, the worker protection certification form needs to be included as well. And a sample is available in Appendix I. All right, so for the GFRP, To review budget categories, please reference the quick reference guide available on the LNI Grants website for details. The GFRP has four tabs. The first tab will auto-populate based on the information placed on the budget and EXP details tab. The budget just instructions tab will provide you with details on what should be listed in the budget justification tab. And as a reminder, for both opportunities, at a minimum, $2,000 per apprentice must be budgeted to support OJL, related technical instruction, and provide wraparound support services. At a minimum, for applications supporting pre-apprentices, $600 needs to be budgeted per pre-apprentice to support work experience, RTI, and wraparound support services. The totals are listed on the screen and in the NGA. And now I will turn this over to Chris from our fiscal team, who's going to present a few slides on the budget.
Good morning. My name is Chris Ferret. Thanks, Will. And I am a member of the fiscal team here at BWDA. We partner with ATO on their invoicing side. And I will be reviewing a few of the critical items with respect to the budget portion of your grant application. Further details on that can be found in the Notice of Grant Agreement, the NGA, or on the LNI website. The first thing to note is that this is a reimbursable grant, meaning we will reimburse you for expenses you incur upon submission of an invoice with the required supporting documentation. Invoices are typically submitted by the 5th of the following month, and examples of supporting documentation are timesheets showing total hours worked and hours worked towards the grant purposes. We do understand that some organizations do not have timesheets or do not keep those types of records. We do have templates we will be happy to share with you at the time of award, but those hours must be recorded. Payroll summaries, payroll registers, or pay stubs to verify amounts paid, receipts for purchases and proof of payment, individual student or participant account statements, and that's primarily for anyone who chooses to do tuition reimbursement or tuition payment, and justification on how the expenses support the grant objectives. Administrative costs, which are defined in Appendix H, are limited to 10% of the total project budget, and that's just for administrative. So your A section on your GFRP, when you get to that point, there is also a budget instruction manual that comes with Appendix H that will help you in setting up your budget for your cost categories and how to allocate. Indirect costs, if included, must be supported by a current approved negotiated indirect cost rate agreement signed by the federal cognizant agency or a de minimis justification and attached to the narrative upon submission. Payments are made through the Commonwealth through ACH deposits, typically within 10 business days of the date we approve the invoices. Invoices are reviewed in the order in which they are submitted on the LNI electronic website. Budget forms is included in the Appendix H in the NGA as described earlier. You must use the Excel version of this document available on the LNI website to submit your budget summary along with the rest of your grant application. This form is designed to facilitate accurate budget preparation and later invoicing. So it's pretty much an all-inclusive workbook. We do ask to not remove any of the protections on this website due to the formulas that we have created on it, or make any changes to those formulas. Budgets must be for the full period of performance, July 1, 2025 through March 31, 2027. And the budget will become the financial basis for any grant award. In addition, you need to include a detailed budget justification as discussed earlier, as part of your application. This needs to justify each expenditure by line item, itemize each expenditure specifying the item, quantity, and frequency of expenditure, and provide a justification of why each item is necessary for implementing the project and why the expenditure is reasonable. Please refer to the budget preparation manual found on Appendix H. It's included with when you download your application, I believe, and the invoicing instructions spreadsheet for additional details on preparing your budget and appropriately classifying any expenditures. What you're seeing right now on your screen, pardon me, gives a brief overview of the different cost categories that are on your GFRP for your budget as you're setting it up. And as you scroll further through the manual, you will see more detailed examples of what is included in each of those. And that's all I have. So, Will, I will send it back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris. All right. Moving on here, we have incomplete. So this is for application package submission instructions, and incomplete application packages or application packages that do not meet the identified specifications will not be reviewed or scored. Please note that the timeline, goals and outcomes table, sustainability plan, letters of support, budget form, budget justification, and the worker protection certification form do not count towards the total number of pages. Application packages must be submitted electronically to atogrants@pa.gov by the application deadline. The subject line for your email submission should include supporting information technology grant application and then your organization's name. An email response will be sent upon the receipt of your application, and this is confirmation that the application was received by the deadline. And very important, if you don't receive an automatic email response, please contact the LNI ATO at the phone number here, which is 717-787-6997. Be prepared to provide details about your submission, such as email proof of submission from your sent items folder, your contact information, and the name of the grant for which you're applying. Supporting Pennsylvania's information technology sector through apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships applications are due by February 28th, 2025 at 4 p.m. Late applications will not be accepted. The approximately $2 million is available, and grants will be awarded and funded competitively based on 2 opportunities for the development and expansion of registered apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships. LNI anticipates a period of performance beginning July 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2027. Additional information regarding award notices, grant agreements, reporting and evaluation, and allowable and disallowable costs and expenses can be found in the NGA. Grant expenses will be paid on a reimbursement basis only. Grant expenses include actual costs that are accompanied by supporting documentation with monthly invoices submitted through the PA CareerLink site, also known as CWDS. Questions regarding the content of this NGA must be submitted via email to atogrants@pa.gov. And again, please use the following subject line, which is supporting information technology grant application, your organization's name. So this now concludes the overview of the NGA, and we will now begin the Q&A portion of the Bidders Conference, and I'll be reading through questions that have been entered through the chat feature in order received. And also, if you have any additional questions regarding the content of this NGA, please submit them in writing to the ATO Grants resource account, which is again atogrants@pa.gov by 4 p.m. Eastern Time on January 24th. And again, please use that email subject line supporting information technology grant application with your organization's name. All right. And also, really quickly, I do have my contact information here. Again, I'm Will Horan, and my email is whoran@pa.gov.